the Five Remembrances. So there are 5 things that if you say them to yourselves every morning before you wake up, it will settle you into your Buddhism and help you remember what it is you should be doing once you move through your day. And they are called the Five Remembrances. The first 3 are things that all Buddhists should already know. I'm assuming there are people who watch this channel who are just beginning to be Buddhist or just thinking about it or who are just curious about it. So I will mention those first 3 and then we'll go into the last 2 and have a discussion. The first 3 are, I am of the nature to grow old. For some of us, the understanding that we are going to grow old is obvious. And then for some of us, it really isn't. Like from the age of 5 to about 35, we are aging. That's obvious. We're getting larger, from the age of 5 to 20, our bodies are growing, changing, whatever. And then from the ages of 20 to 35, not a lot physically happens to us. We don't really get gray. We don't really get overweight. We don't really get, we're just kind of rocking steady. And then from 35 on, it's a different story. My gray hair will tell you that I am older than 35, and I understand this first one unlike I understand the rest of them, because every day something shows me that I am not only aging, but I am indeed aged. and that's fine. That's one of the reasons that we say these things every day, is so that it is fine, so that we can be old and accept it, so that we can be aging and accept it as it comes. But for people between the ages of about, 15 to 35, it's hard to get them to understand that you are actually aging and that you will eventually, at the best situation, is grow old. For a lot of us, we don't get the chance to grow old. I'm blessed in that I could get old, that I'm almost 60. There are a lot of people in my family, my direct family, that never saw 50. And I will be 60 in 2 years. So, so there's a chance I still won't get to be 60, living in today. Right now I'm 58. 2 years from now I will be 60 if I'm still alive. Which brings us to the second one. The second remembrance is we will get sick. This is the one that a lot of people disagree with. A lot of different religions say that there are things you can do about illness. I don't know about those religions. I am not qualified to really even comment on them, let alone teach them. What I teach is Buddhism, and in Buddhism, these first 3 things are fact, they're sacrosanct. They are actually the things that the Buddha saw that made him leave his comfortable life and go out and start teaching what eventually would be named Buddhism. So if you do not accept these, at least listen to them, and with an open mind and an open heart. It may not work for you. You may not believe that you have to get sick. But here's my argument for it. I'm not saying that you have to get sick. I'm saying that if you live long enough, you will get sick. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that if you are born and don't get sick, then you had a short life. You were born, you lived in a place where there was no illness and no one around you shared illness with you, and you died. That's what I believe. But I'm a Buddhist. You don't have to believe that. But that is a remembrance for Buddhism. That is one of the core beliefs of Buddhism, that we will grow old, that we will get sick, and the third one is that we will die, which is undeniable. No one can deny that we will die. I mean, no one who's over the age of 5 who can deny that we will die. Everyone dies. Everything dies. It's the part of the circle of life. And it's wonderful and it's scary. But the reason we want to remember it every day is because if you really live your life like you believe that you're going to die tomorrow, there are a lot of things that you would do. And more importantly, or maybe just as importantly, I should say, there are things you simply would not do. You would not waste your time watching a rerun of The Facts of Life like I did the other day, because you're going to die tomorrow. If you were going to die tomorrow, Watching a rerun of the facts of life is not how you're going to spend part of your last 24 hours on earth. Knowing viscerally that you're going to die changes the way you live your life. And I'm going to say this. To know this viscerally means that you move in and out of it. Some days you get it. Some days it just hits you in such a way that you're like, you know what? I'm going to spend this day living as if I don't have tomorrow. And then other days you say the remembrances and you go and you spend 3 hours in front of the TV watching Nickelodeon or whatever it's called these days, Cartoon Network or whatever it's called these days, whatever it's called. And the reason is because it didn't hit you viscerally. You said them. It reminded you to be a better person today, which is one of the five. That's number 5. Let's go to number 4. The fourth one is impermanence. Everyone, everything, everybody, everything, everyone that you love, that you care about, that you know will leave you. Period. One way or the other, everything that you love, that you know, that you care about, everything will leave you. If you can live in that, if you can know that, if you can say that to yourself every day before you start your day, it's going to change how your day works out. It may not change it in a big way, but it will change it. You will not hug your children in the same way if when you are hugging them, you're thinking, one day these children and I will not be able to hug for whatever reason. It's impermanence. And here's the thing that COVID gives us about impermanence that nothing else was a great enough example of, is that now we know things can change instantaneously. We know it. It's not something that a teacher like me has to convince you of anymore. You've seen it with your own eyes. Hell, in December, if I'd have told you in December that the world could change instantly, you would have looked at me like I was crazy. You would have said, sure, it changes in minute ways, but it can't change in major ways. Not that fast, no way. But in March, it literally did before our very eyes. I used to teach this. I have taught this for 20 some odd years, and I'm going to tell you something. I didn't believe to the point that I believe now because of COVID. I'm a Buddhist teacher. This is something that I say to myself every day. And I didn't get it the way I get it now because of COVID. COVID has changed everything. If you are not a Buddhist, you still have a way of seeing your own spiritual practice differently because everything changed almost overnight. It just did. And that's impermanence. That's everything I love, everyone I love, everybody I know, everything is going to leave me. One way or another, I can't hold on to it. That's the fourth remembrance. The fifth one is what I like to call the only thing you can do about it. The only thing you can do about the first 4 is the fifth one. The fifth one is the only thing that I have, the only thing that I own, the only thing that I control are my actions and my responses to the difficulties of life. Whether it is impermanence, my wife left me, my mom got Alzheimer's, whether it's I'm going to get sick, it doesn't have to be COVID. I mean, people were getting terrible illnesses long before COVID. There are literally illnesses that are still worse than COVID in the world right now. We just don't talk about them as much because COVID is so infectious. And it has changed our world so radically and so quickly that that's what we talk about. But truthfully, pancreatic cancer is still a terrible disease. And people get it every day. So we will get sick. What can we do about it? We can do nothing about any of these things except for how we act when they happen. We can change our actions, our responses. We can do something about how we act when these things happen. But we cannot do anything about them happening. We can't. So it kind of lets you off the hook.
Like, hey, Kathy, you're getting old. Yeah, I'm getting old, but there's nothing I can do about it, so I'm just going to get old. What I can do is take care of myself. Make sure that getting old does not mean I get infirm. But it does not mean that I'm not going to get old. I'm still going to turn 60 in 2 years if I live long enough. That's true. But I could turn 60 in 2 years and be healthy, or I could turn 60 in 2 years and be bedridden. I'm still going to turn 60 in 2 years. The only difference is what I can do. The only part that I can take care of is my actions. I can do my actions. And here's the other part. I can do everything right and still be bedridden because I still get sick. Illness is something that we can't do anything about. People get sick. You live, you get sick. You live, you die. You live, you grow old. You live, and these three things happen to you. And the fourth one happens too. If you live, everything you love, and the truth is everything you hate. Going to the dentist doesn't last forever either. But your relationships are going to change, and they're going to change in very interesting and disturbing ways. Those are the 5 remembrances. Say them to yourself. Remember them. I wrote them down in the description, so you'll be able to say them. So print it out. Take a look. Thanks for joining me. If you learned something, and if I've earned it, subscribe. And if not, come back to the next one. I'll try better. And I'll do better if I'm here and I'm not too sick. Be well. Be happy.